Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. UFC Djorden versus Allen just ended, and we're going to be going over everything that happened, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and yeah. So let's start off with the first fight on the prelim card, Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa. I actually picked Tainara Lisboa. Now this was also before I saw Melissa Croden at the weigh-in, because she actually looked extremely solid, like pretty well prepared. Body looked better conditioned overall. But Tainara Lisboa looked solid in the first round only. Like, she was just countering everything Melissa Croden was throwing at her. And it seemed like that was gonna continue for the following two rounds, but it didn't. Like, Melissa Croden just got the best of her. She basically just kind of outmuscled her for the rest of those two rounds. She just seemed to have more energy, more stamina, so Lisboa lost. Yeah, not super surprised, honestly, with that one. But let's go on to the next one, which was extremely surprising. Azamat Bekoev versus Yousri Belgaroui. I picked Azamat Bekoev. And honestly, I felt so confident about this pick too. I legit thought that Belgaroui was just not on the same level. And I know people were saying that, oh, well, he trains with Pereira. Cool. I just didn't think that that meant anything. It's one thing to say, oh, you train with Pereira and actually, you know, take lessons away from that. But I guess he did, because he was fighting at a distance, never had to get too close to Azamat Bekoev. He was countering Azamat Bekoev anytime Bekoev tried to close. Also, Bekoev tried to take him down multiple times. It didn't happen. Yousri basically just was long enough, it seemed, because there were moments where Azamat was just under him. This was after Yousri had stuffed the takedown, and he's just kind of awkwardly lying there beneath his belly. So yeah, sad time for Azamat Bekoev overall. It's crazy though, because he was such a big favorite, I feel. I mean, respect to him for pushing through all the way. He stayed engaged even though he was losing. He did eat some damage, but he also took it pretty well and didn't crumble. It just looked like he was a weight class below Yousri as well. Like, he looked pretty small, honestly. Comparatively, he looked pretty small. And I know he's shorter, but he also just looked small. I don't know what to say. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, guys. Basically the most reliable pick on this card, Stephanie Luciano versus Ravena Oliveira. This one kind of went exactly as expected. Stephanie Luciano, the more technical fighter, took her moment to warm up, but she had a really solid second and third round, got the submission in the third. Good performance from Stephanie Luciano. I don't know what else to say. She was the better fighter, as we all expected. Whatever you thought was going to happen in this fight happened, basically. The sub towards the end was a nice touch, though, because usually Luciano wins by decision, but she was able to get the sub. Alright, let's move on to the next one, guys. This fight made me so upset because I felt like whatever we saw happen in this fight was a possibility that I entertained in my mind, but chose not to pay too much attention to. And I don't know why I didn't, because I genuinely thought that Danny Barlow would finally be able to showcase his skills against an opponent like Jourdain Santos. I thought, okay, he got knocked out by Sam Patterson. Sorry, Sam Patterson. That's his name. And I figured, okay, well, Jourdain Santos doesn't have that kind of KO ability. He's not really a sniper like that. Danny Barlow ate so many shots to the face from Jourdain Santos the whole time. The whole time he was just getting countered, but it wasn't devastating, obviously. And I feel like he had a few moments where he could have finished Jourdain Santos and just didn't. I don't know what it was. There was a moment where he almost finished him and then he just didn't. And then it seemed like he kind of just broke after that. He kind of just broke. In the second round, he allowed himself to get backed up against the cage. It just seemed like he wasn't present at that point. I don't know, like he could have done anything instead of just, you know, eating damage and getting backed up. And he did so poorly in the third too. Like, he looked like a wet chicken, and unfortunately he just kind of allowed the fight to slip away from him. I feel like he totally could have won and he just didn't. I told you guys that I was sensing some cowardly energy from him, and I just don't know why I didn't listen to myself. I literally have it in my notes that he gives off cowardly vibes. And I really wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Never again. Never again. And I told you guys in that video, if he fails this mission, I'll never be picking him for anything again. And yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, guys. Bruno Silva versus Hyunsung Park. Hyunsung Park also didn't look too bad in the first round, and then just slowly started crumbling. Looked pretty okay in the first round. I had hope for him. That was my pick. And he just crumbled so hard. He just crumbled so hard. But the saddest part about this too is I feel like Hyunsung Park is a talented enough fighter. I do think he has skills, but unfortunately, he just crumbles when he takes too much damage. He got subbed in the third. Bruno Silva just out-brawled him, basically. He wanted it more. Like, Hyunsung Park just had mildly juvenile energy. I don't know how else to describe that. But yeah, it's sad because I feel like he could have won if he maybe trained a little differently. Because it's sad when you see someone who hasn't reached their ceiling but is performing under it, you know? Anyways, let's move on to the next one, guys. Cody Gibson versus Aoriqileng. This was like another one of the fastest KOs I've ever seen. It says here that it was 21 seconds, but it felt like it was 10. Cody Gibson just went in and got chinned. That's all that happened. Like right away. Fight started, he went in and got chinned. Fell comically, end of fight. All right, let's move on to the next one. I mean, he's fucking old, man. He's old. He lives in San Luis Obispo in California, which is like a tech town for also retired folk. So anyhow, let's move on to the next one, guys. Kyle Prepolec versus Drew Dober. The soy versus the Chad, and we found out that it was a weird one, actually. So Kyle Prepolec got badly kicked in the nuts in the second round. He was doing pretty well up until then, actually. I think he was actually winning. It looked like he was actually winning a little bit. It was so bad that the ref decided to take a point from Drew Dober. And then in the third, when that round started, I don't know, it's like something awoke inside of Drew Dober, and he just lashed out all of his anger on Kyle Prepolec and got a finish. Got a finish on this dude who was recovering from a terrible groin kick. Anyways, I don't know what to say about that. It was a weird fight, but hey, yeah, Drew Dober got the win, I guess. This fight really felt like Canada versus US to me. Like, the US is like, no, we'll win at whatever means necessary. And Canada just being like, that's not fair, you're supposed to play by the rules. Anyways, it's a weird fight. But let's on to the next one. Main card. Starting off with Kyle Nelson and Matt Frevola. I actually picked Kyle Nelson. I thought that he was well-rounded enough, sturdier, would be able to handle whatever Matt Frevola would have for him. He just fought Steve Garcia, so I figured, okay, well, he's gotten experience from this intense, crazy, talented fighter, so he should be able to handle Matt Frevola, even though he lost that last fight. Matt Frevola obviously had his intense start where he tried to basically unload his entire gas tank in the first round. And he almost got cooked. Like, he got knocked down. I'm pretty sure it was a knockdown by Kyle Nelson. Fell on the ground. There was like a 20 seconds or so left. Kyle Nelson obviously jumps on top of him, tries to go for the ground and pound, and honestly, it looked like the fight should have been over. It looked like if they called it, then it would have been like a first round KO. Totally understandable. We've seen earlier I feel like we've seen earlier stoppages. I feel like I've seen earlier stoppages. Anyways, that did not happen. Round 2 began. I can't even imagine the state that Kyle Nelson was in after this, because I feel like he probably also felt that, okay, he did enough, like the round is over, he got the KO, but he had to fight another 2 rounds, which is, yeah, again, I can't imagine the state you have to go into to lock yourself back in after just unloading your entire gas and adrenaline tank. He definitely didn't look the same. Like, I feel like he could have had an even better performance, but he still did enough to win. So he got the decision in the end. Matt Frevola is okay. He just lacks some fight IQ, timing, and yeah, Kyle Nelson just happened to be a little bit better. All right, let's move on to the next one, guys. Charles Jourdain versus Davey Grant. I picked Charles Jourdain. This is one of my favorite picks on the card. Dude, Charles Jourdain proved to us that if the first flying knee does not work, don't fret, don't stress, don't give up. Try again, and try again. Because one of those fucking knees will hit just right if you just time it correctly. Charles Jourdain shot about 3 or so knees before that final one that hit Davey Grant just directly in the face and destroyed him, sent him down to the ground. Obviously, then Charles Jourdain followed up with the ground and pound, but that was one of my favorite finishes. That was an epic one, actually. I was really impressed by that performance, especially because I thought this would be a bit of a longer fight. Davey Grant's pretty good, but Charles Jourdain looked so quick in there. Genuinely, I didn't expect that, because usually Davey Grant can match that energy. But yeah, Charles Jourdain looked pretty good. He looked better than his last fight. I feel like he was able to work on his speed a little bit. And yeah, flying knees. Really awesome when you can land them. And speaking of landing flying knees, let's move on to the next one. Manon Fiorot versus Jasmine Jasudavicious. It's funny how the two women's fights on this card were like the most straightforward ones, I feel. Like, okay, they kind of went how we all expected them to. I picked Manon Fiorot because she is the big sister and the Manon. I don't know what she's on, guys, but I feel like she's taken some things. Because she has the appearance of someone who may have looked a little differently before taking some supplements. First round, Manon looks pretty solid in there. I don't know, there's not too much happening up until she also lands a knee to Jasmine Jasudavicious' face. Jasmine Jasudavicious kind of crumbles on the ground immediately, and ground and pound ensues. Ref calls it. Some would say it was an early stoppage, but I feel like it was going to only end one way. I mean, Manon looked so fucking mean when she was beating the head of Jasmine Jasudavicious. It was so intense. So yeah, she got the win. Easy peasy. Yeah. You know, some would say it was early, but hey, Jasmine was looking wobbly as hell after that, so what did you want? Do you want them to just get full-blown CTE, guys? Come on. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This was a kind of frustrating one for me. Marlon Vera versus Aiemann Zahabi. I picked Aiemann Zahabi, and I honestly feel like he could have finished this one in the first round. I really feel like he could have, because if you know anything about Cheeto, is it takes him a while to get in the zone. He usually needs a moment to warm up, you know, like he has a slow start. So I feel like it would have been the perfect moment for Aiemann Zahabi to capitalize on that. I don't know why he didn't and why he was so cautious in that first round, especially when he had him like cornered basically and just didn't do anything else. A little bit frustrating to see, especially because it was in that round where something happened with Marlon's finger. I don't know if it was broken, if it got broken, but you could tell that there was like a moment where he was like, oh, like, ow, that's not cool, whatever just happened. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed to see that Aiemann just kind of didn't do more when he could have. Because then, in the second and third round, when Cheeto slowly actually started to lock in, and did actually become more of a challenge, Aiemann just had to try and match that energy, which is obviously a lot more difficult when in the first round he could have just finished it. Like, he totally could have just finished it. It's weird that he didn't. But yeah, the fight ended in a split decision. Cheeto got the second round, and the third was kind of pretty close. So I guess Zahabi did just a little more, just enough to win it. But yeah, totally could. I feel like he totally could have got the finish in the first round. So Let's move on to the next one, guys. The last two fights on this card, the co-main and the main. The most boring fights on the card. But it is what it is. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. Very suppressed energy that I experienced from both of them, especially Mike Malott in this fight. I mean, probably because he didn't want to get caught with anything, which is understandable. But Mike Malott also ended up getting Kevin Holland kneed this time, not kicked though, in the groin. And Kevin Holland tried to make a pretty big scene about it too. Seemed like Kevin Holland really wanted that point taken away, but I don't know. And I feel like it definitely wasn't, it didn't seem as bad as the Kyle Prepolec situation. I can pull up I'm gonna insert some clips from the fight, so we'll see how it actually looked. Overall, Mike kind of was just in decent enough positions all throughout the fight. There were a few scrambles on the ground, which looked kind of weird and messy. The scrambles on the ground were weird. Hopefully I can insert some clips and you guys will see what I mean. But I feel like neither of them could hold each other down. They were just kind of tumbling and rolling around with each other, so it wasn't really an effective scramble, it seemed. And they were fighting each other very cautiously on the feet, especially Mike Malott. But anyways, Malott did just a little more to win. I feel like Kevin was also bitching the whole time about the crotch shot, which I feel distracted him from his own game plan, to be honest. Anyhow, that's what happened there. Let's move on to the next one, guys. The last fights on the card. Rainier de Ridder versus Brendan Allen. Many strange things in this fight. And before this fight, too. I just want to note that RDR looked super fucked up at the official weigh-in before the fight. He looked, as we would say in Russian, a wet chicken. So I'll insert either a clip or a picture here, but he looked withered, like he was barely moving. He didn't look good. He looked almost like how Eduarda Mora used to look before she moved up a weight class. Showing up to the weigh-ins, almost shivering, looking like she has the flu or something. RDR was bordering that type of look. So, in the first round, everything looked fine. RDR was able to take him down, like, in a very easy way too, and I thought, okay, here we go again. Brendan Allen's gonna lose. He's not gonna be able to get back up. And that's exactly what happened. Round one ended. RDR dominated the whole time on top. Brendan Allen couldn't do anything. Then round two came around and Brendan Allen was like, boom, Uno reverse card. I'm just going to do that to you now. And RDR couldn't do anything. He was just eating elbows, being in a reverse fetal position. Yeah. It was just kind of rough to watch him not be able to do anything. And then round three comes around and I figured, okay. So, like, maybe this is time for RDR to try his chances on the feet. But no, he goes immediately for a takedown. He sets up a strike just to go for a takedown, gets the takedown, gets reversed. And then the same thing happens in round three where Brendan Allen's on top of him. He can't really do much. Round four comes around. He just gets taken down. He just gets taken down. And that was like the most abusive round. That was the round where I don't even know what the defense was for RDR. There was barely defense. He was getting smashed whenever Brendan Allen had the chance to smash him. And it wasn't looking bright. The future wasn't looking bright. And just when you thought the fifth round was going to come around, RDR pulled out. He just quit on the stool. And I know that was a little bit strange. We weren't expecting that. I know people are calling him a quitter. But honestly, now that I've been thinking about it, I feel like maybe he really just was off and sick because that performance was really bad. Also, why did he do so well in the first round, but like completely lost all of his energy in the second, third, and fourth? Just a little strange. And I feel like he probably had a really intense, tough, terrible weight cut. We've seen this happen before, especially like with Eduardo Mora. This is just the recent example, like the latest example I can remember. I just feel like it's really strange that he pulled out on the fourth round just like that. I feel like a fighter wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Unless there was something really wrong. Because I know a lot of people are saying now, how bad was Whitaker really? How bad was Bo Nickel really? I mean, Bo Nickel is a different story, but like Whitaker, I don't know. Because I feel like Whitaker isn't that bad. And I feel like that performance from D. Ritter was just unusually bad. And maybe there was a reason for that. The weight cut. This was his 5th time fighting this year, guys. This is his 5th time cutting weight. He is a huge guy. The weight cut was brutal. So I know that was a super disappointing and anticlimactic outcome for this card. But I think overall it wasn't too bad. The fights were fun. Charles Jourdain and Manon Fiorot saved the main card, so we got that. There were a couple fun ones on the prelims as well. Overall, guys, okay, like Canada came through. A lot of the Canadian fighters came through, especially on the main card. Yeah, in a way, I've actually been coming around to liking Canada more. By the way, these are all my thoughts, but I was gonna say that for a long time I had this really negative attitude towards Canada for multiple reasons, but I feel like I'm slowly starting to make my way back and realize that, hey, maybe part of that was just me and there's not anything that wrong with Canada. And it seems in general, too, that Canadians are trying to prove their place, that their worth where they are in the world. Because people were giving them some shit for that, for just being not that talented. So I'm glad that they are pulling through. At least a little bit. Pulling through. Canadian Brendan Allen, who has Canadian grandparents. Anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. It's late. I will go. Thank you guys for watching this recap. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe so that I know and I can make more content for you. And also, if you have any suggestions for videos you want to see from me besides predictions and recaps, let me know as well in the comments below. Other than that, I'll see you next time, and goodbye. Yeah, and next time will be UFC 321, so should be a decent card. Look forward to that, and yeah, see you.